Thank you everyone for being so prompt, and my apologies for being such a taskmaster, but we've got a schedule, and I've got a special treat for you all. A very close collaborator and a good friend who is the Director of Member Services for the Chamber, Rebecca Wood, would like to say a few words and welcome.
Hi, yes, just on behalf of the whole, I wanted to welcome you to our space. We moved here about 2 years ago now, just after the floods in 2013, and it's just great to see such a full house and that the work that Talent Pool is doing in collaboration with the Chamber come to fruition and just see so many faces here today. So I just wanted to say that, and also I just thought I'd take this moment to share some really exciting news that the Chamber just had this past Friday. We actually won an award at the International Chamber of the Year for our work on the floods and the recovery for businesses within Calgary and also within the surrounding areas. And that work continues on to this day. So if any of you are interested in maybe plugging into that, if you're looking for a business continuity program for your business, we have that available online. You can also join our emergency management response notification system. So we are connected into the city and SEMA, and so if there is an emergency, we can connect you with what's going on right away. So you can sign up online to be a part of that database direct from our website. So just a couple announcements I wanted to say, and again on behalf of the Chamber, thank you so much for being here. We love having the place full with professionals like you, and I wish you all the best in the balance of your workshop today.
Thank you, Rebecca. Thanks so much. Yeah, that was exciting last week when we got the announcement that the Chamber won in Torino, Italy. So that takes to great team. So we're continuing, and next, Jennifer Bethel, you would like to kick us off. So reminding ourselves that Jennifer is the Registrar of Asset, and we're going to really be talking about the perfect segue to what's been discussed, recognition, credentials, success. Thank you.
Yeah, so the speakers who have already presented this morning have been talking sort of the bigger picture about competency and competency-based assessment. So I was invited to talk about what we've done at Asset. We've actually implemented competency-based assessment for the certification of individuals. So this will take it maybe a little bit more to the micro level, and I hope it will give you some insight into how we did this implementation, some of the things that worked, some of the things that didn't, and where we'll be at in the future with this type of assessment. So let's go back. Just to give you an overview what I'll talk about. Some of you may not be familiar with Asset. We know now that we have a very long association name, so we do just say Asset. Our voicemails are very long. So I'm going to talk a little bit about what competency-based assessment means to us. There actually isn't perhaps a generally accepted definition of what competency means, but it's often implemented in different ways. So I'll talk about that context for Asset. I'll show you how we've implemented competency-based assessment to date, but then I'll talk about some of the assessment challenges that we discovered after doing that implementation and why we decided to make some changes. So then I'll go through what our future assessment model will look like, and that will include an overview of the assessment tools that we'll be using, new tools, and then also lessons learned that I think, even though we're a regulatory organization, there are lessons that I think industry could also take and learn from if you're considering some kind of competency model in your organization. So Asset is a professional regulatory body. We are the regulator for applied science, information, and engineering technicians and technologists in the province of Alberta. And that, some of you may be familiar with the PEG Act, you're not familiar with Asset. Okay, so we share the same legislation. So our members are certified or registered under the Engineering and Geoscience Professions Act of Alberta and related regulations. So we have a fairly close relationship with the PEGA, but we do issue different credentials and work with different professionals. So those credentials that we issue are Certified Technician or CTEC, Certified Engineering Technologist or CET, for your information, it's the first designation of its kind in Canada. It allows senior technologists who have the related engineering or geoscience experience to practice in those fields independently within a defined scope of practice, meaning, again, within a defined scope, they can sign off on their own work. They have a stamp and seal similar to an engineer or a geoscientist. So as a regulator, we're also responsible for setting the code of ethics for the profession, so making sure those individuals who are registered with us are performing to a high standard. We are a voluntary membership organization, so we have about 18,000 members at this time. That does not reflect the profession in Alberta. So there's probably in excess of 60,000 technicians and technologists in Alberta, but we only have 18,000 registered. We'd like to see that grow, and it has been growing steadily over the years, but that's where we sit right now. We also have a key role to play in terms of public safety, so we do oversee a mandatory professional development program for our members in order to maintain their certification. They do have to commit to that lifelong learning. And then we also have a complaints and discipline process. So if complaints are received from a member of the public or elsewhere, we do have a process in place to deal with cases of unprofessional conduct or uncivil practice. There's a lot more that we do, but that's it in a nutshell. Okay, so what does competency-based assessment mean to us? So this is a definition. This is not unique to us. We did not create this definition of competency. It's one you may have heard before. But there are variations. Some people, when they're defining competency, focus more on just the practical application. We think it's both a combination of knowledge and skills. So we're not saying that academics are not important, but as Jeff had said earlier, we are saying that academics are not the only pathway to demonstrate competence. So what we're looking for is knowledge and skills, not necessarily how you gain those knowledge and skills, but the fact that you have that. That's what we consider competency. And we're also focusing on competent performance in a discipline of practice. So we have over 17 disciplines now that we certify individuals within in Alberta. So you can imagine that can be challenging because we have to have knowledge of competency in all of those areas. But that's what we're focusing on. How do you perform within your field of practice? And then, just as I already said, when we look at our model of competency-based assessment, we're evaluating both the theoretical and the practical knowledge. This is different for ASSET in the past, so it was always academic or credential-based. If you did not have a particular credential, meaning either a one-year technical program for technician or a two-year technical program for technologist, you did not have a pathway to certification. It also meant that if you were not from a recognized education program, so even if you had education but you weren't from a recognized program, you did not have a pathway to certification. So that meant primarily internationally trained professionals who were coming from non-recognized programs, but also senior practitioners. So the ASSET had a policy previously that if your education was pre-1991, it was considered too out of date, and therefore even if you had 30 to 40 years of experience in the field, you could not be certified in the program. So obviously things were not working all there. And just
Jeff is going to have a heart attack.
I think people are going to start throwing things at me now, but we've changed that. But you can see that this is a problem. This does not reflect the reality of the workplace today. Sadly, we are the only province in Alberta that has adopted this model. So all of those things I just described are still happening in every other province. We're working to change that, but it's a tough sell. There's still that attitude of, well, we've always done it based on academics. We're going to continue to do it based on academics. We don't want to change. So we're doing our best, and our hope is the work that I'm going to talk to you about today will be adopted across the country. It's probably going to take a decade, but we're committed. Okay.
Jobs.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll have some work to do. So this is how, I don't want to get into too much detail about how we do things at ASSET, but this gives you a snapshot of our current assessment model. So this is a model, this is not the model I just described, this is a model that has implemented or included some components of competency-based assessment. We haven't got to the point where we want to be yet with that. But basically you'll see that transcripts still are an important component. We're still looking at the credential. And we have these three categories of applicants. I've included non-graduates who don't have a pathway right now, who will have a pathway, just so I can show you the difference later. So we have accredited graduates, that's the recognized academics I was talking about. Those are only Canadian programs. same national standard that we have for the Canadian program. So that's why we still support. For non-graduates, as I said, there's no pathway. The best we do for them right now is to offer them an academic assessment, identify gaps in their learning, and show them what their pathway would be to obtain technician level certification. And when I say non-graduates, that's not necessarily someone that has no schooling. It could be someone who didn't complete their program. It could be someone who had gone to a formal program but has decades of professional development experience and is very confident in their field. So again, this is a problem that we don't have a pathway for this one. We confirm professional currency by looking at resume, job description, 3 work-related references. The job description is also validated by the individual's employer, so we have some confidence in the information that's being provided. The first piece of competency assessment that we implemented is this component called the competency checklist. So what they did is they took a look at the standards being used for the accreditation of academic programs and said, okay, we expect these individuals to meet all of those standards, but we're assuming that you've achieved that through your educational program, and we're going to assess their competency based on that. So probably some of your questions are that doesn't really make sense, and it doesn't, but that's what we've got right now. And so what happens is the individual completes this checklist, it's validated by their supervisor or another individual in the organization, and that's how they demonstrate competency. So it's a very limited tool, and I'll talk a little bit about that later. Last but not least, other common components, we test their ethics and professional practice knowledge through professional practice or a jurisprudence exam. So those are the key components for both the accredited and non-accredited. And then what they implemented for the accredited graduates to validate that theoretical knowledge that they said we didn't know that it was good enough because they're not coming from these accredited programs, they also require them to complete a career dossier. So the career dossier is basically a free-for-all. It just says, give us whatever documentation you want. It can be designs, it can be work samples, but show us that you know what you say you know. Again, there's problems with that. I'll talk about that in the next slide. We also have, I just noted a few more things because you always have individuals that don't necessarily fit the boxes. We have an academic assessment for the non-accredited grads as well. That's for applicants who may have a 1-year technical program and want to reclassify to the technologist level. They at this point still require an academic assessment to show the gaps in their education. So they have to demonstrate that they have equivalency to technologist level education. Then we have, we require an ICLOS or equivalent credential. Is anyone familiar with ICLOS? Yeah, so they're the International Qualifications Assessment Circles. There's I think 6 other similar organizations that belong to the Alliance of Credential Evaluators, and that's what we mean by equivalent. We would accept any of the assessments from those organizations. So that is for the international applicants. The ICLOS is, in our opinion, essential, and we'll continue to use that service because it tells us what the level of academics are equivalent to in Canada. So, for example, we have applicants who come to us who are called engineers in their country of origin. In actual fact, they have the equivalent to a 1-year technical program in Canada. So there can be quite a lot of difference. And then language proficiency, of course, that's for those who have graduated from a program not delivered in English, so may not just the international training that which primarily is used for that purpose. And then we also confirm that they have the ability to work within Canada legally. So that's the last thing. So that's a snapshot of how we do our assessment today. And so I've kind of alluded to some of the challenges of this. So one of the first things when we took stock of what we've done so far with competency-based assessment, one of the first things that jumped out is why are we using the standards used for assessment of academic programs for the assessment of individual competency? It doesn't make sense. It's related, but it is not the same thing. So we decided we needed a new baseline for conducting our competency-based assessment, and that baseline would have to be developed with the inclusion of practitioners, industry representatives, and academic representatives to come up with what do we mean by competency and what do we mean by competency with each of our different disciplines that we're certified within. In addition, as I said already, the self-assessment checklist is kind of limited in the information provided. So I'm not opposed to self-assessments, but they are a self-assessment. For an assessor who's looking at that, it really doesn't tell them a lot. It doesn't tell them that this person can really do what they say they do. It just says that they can say that they've checked off each of the boxes, and yes, they're competent. So very limited information for the assessors. The career dossier dossier I mentioned, there was also an issue with inconsistency and redundancy. So inconsistency in the sense that, as I said, it was, a fruit salad or a free-for-all, whatever documentation you want to provide, you can provide, but then there's no consistency for the assessors who are looking at that information. So, you can't standardize everything, but you want to have some kind of more standardized assessment process for the purposes of being fair and defensible in the process. And then redundancy as well. So the career dossier was supposed to have been established to validate the theoretical knowledge, but in actual fact, it combined both the theoretical and the practical knowledge. So these applicants were being asked to show through their work samples, whatever documentation they provided, that they know what they say they know. So that's actually the practical application as well. And then last but not least, as I've already mentioned, we don't have those multiple pathways that we want to have. We don't want to say everyone has to fit into those boxes. We know we've got the senior practitioners, we've got internationally trained professionals. We've got local professionals who may not have as much experience and maybe didn't go to school, but they are competent at that minimum level required for certification. So all of these individuals, we believe, have the right to achieve certification if they can prove that they're competent. So that was what we found when we did an assessment of what we had piloted so far. And so here's the same table or chart, but here's what we will look like in the future. So the competency checklist is being replaced by a competency report. You'll also notice that the career dossier has disappeared. So that's kind of being rolled into this idea of a competency report. Competency report is not an idea unique to us. There's other organizations that have adopted this type of model. One that we really enjoyed when we were reviewing the different options with Pioneers Canada. They developed a competency report template for the evaluation of international applicants. We really liked what they did with that, and so we've taken that idea and customized it for our own needs. So the competency report is great. It's still the idea of showing what you say you know, but as you can see now, it's for everybody. Because just because you came from an accredited program doesn't mean you're competent. So yes, we want to take a look at your academics, but we also want to know that you can do what you say you can do. So in the competency report, essentially, the applicants are providing workplace examples according to 6 key competencies in their discipline. And I'll talk a little bit in more detail about the report and how we got to those competencies. But as I said, it rolls up those 2 ideas. We no longer have the self-assessment, so you're not just checking a box and asking your supervisor to sign it. And you're also still having that opportunity to give examples of the work that you do. So that's that main component. And then the second component that we've decided to implement, you'll see at the bottom in the 2 boxes, is a certification exam. So the idea behind the exam is for non-accredited applicants and non-graduates. It's an objective way to assess that someone knows what they say they know. So they decided when looking at this model, we're not going to have that exam for the accredited graduates because we validated their theoretical knowledge through the accredited academic program. We've assessed their competency, so we have what we need to determine their qualifications. But we are going to have that option for the non-accredited graduates. So rather than having, and I guess I should add here, a lot of the time the non-accredited grads have to jump through hoops because they're not meeting that, the standard academic requirement. So this is an objective, relatively easy way for them to demonstrate that knowledge in an objective manner. It's fair, it's consistent, and it's defensible, which were our keys when we were implementing these new tools. And so the best part of all of this is that we now, and you'll see it's filled up, we now have a full pathway for those non-graduates. So those senior practitioners, those international trained professionals, those individuals who are very qualified but have no formal academics, we now have a pathway for them. You'll see I still include transcripts on that category. The reason is that, as I said, it could be someone who has partial academics. I mean, that could be most of their program just to graduate. So we still will look for that if the applicant has that, but it's not a requirement. They still complete the competency report like everybody else to demonstrate that level of competency. The certification exam is there as an option for the technologist level, but you'll see there's one additional component here where we're implementing the academic assessment is something we're going to have, but we're adding prior learning assessment and recognition. So for the PLAR option, what we're saying is that if you have no academics, we want you to demonstrate your equivalency for the technician level of education. You don't have to go back to school. You just have to show us that you need that equivalency. And then, if you meet that, you can challenge the exam with the CET. So now you've got someone who doesn't have any of the standard things that they were supposed to have, but they have that competency, and now they have a pathway to achieve their top designation. So here's I've only got 5 minutes, so I'm just going to briefly go over the assessment tools. So the competency report, it was an extensive process. This was not an easy thing. We didn't just, let's have a report, and then we publish that the next day. So we had to go through an extensive review process. So that was a literature review. Jeff talked about, occupational classification, we reviewed that. Practice analysis conducted by other regulatory bodies. Job descriptions. So it's an extensive review is done in consultation with our psychometrician who we work with to develop the exams. Based on all of that review, we come up with a draft competency profile. So in each of our 17 disciplines, what do we think competency means? And when I say competency, we're looking at the minimum level. So we're looking at entry-level technicians and technologists. We don't need to know that you're amazing. We just need to know that you meet the standard necessary for public safety. So we come up with the draft competency profile, and then we have subject matter experts doing a review and validation of those profiles. Focus groups, steering committees, you name it. So SMEs are key to this project. They're involved from beginning to end. And when I say SMEs, I mean practitioners, so our own members, industry representative, academic representatives, really the whole picture. We need to get feedback from everyone to make sure that what we're defining as competency really is the definition in that discipline. And then as I already mentioned, for the applicant's perspective, they will provide the workplace examples of application in their key competencies. We talked a little bit about standardization, so what we've done is 6 key competency areas that are common to all disciplines. They may have differences between the disciplines, but they are technical analysis, technical implementation or design, professional accountability, communication, project management. So, some of those key areas that are common to all technicians and technologists, but then they'll be customized based on the discipline. And then as I keep hammering home, these were our key things we wanted to get out of this. We wanted standardized, consistent, defensible assessment. It needs to be fair, it needs to make sense and to work. So that's that component. And then the certification exam, again, also an extensive process. As subject matter experts are key to this part of the process as well. You need to develop what is the exam going to look like, what are the questions going to consist of, that's the item writing, what's the standard going to be for the exam, what's the pass mark we're setting, we need to edit it, we need to pilot test it, we need to analyze the results. And last but not least, the sensitivity review, because we need to make sure by implementing an exam, we're not creating an artificial barrier, especially for internationally trained professionals who might have some comprehension barriers. So very extensive process. My point in hammering that home is lessons learned. So you've heard some of this already, and I think these lessons would be good for anyone trying to implement some kind of competency model for their organization. So you need to have the human resources. I cannot tell you enough how much of a challenge it has been getting the subject matter experts we need for this project. It is a significant time commitment. The project is extensive. The amount of work required is extensive. So you really need to kind of build your pool of really passionate people who really want to make this happen, and reward them for doing that, however that may be. In our case, we made all of our components in this project as qualifying towards their continued professional development requirement for those who were members of ASSA. Some for the academics, they just want to be involved because it's fun and it's the stuff that they like to do. So that was a little bit easier. But yeah, you need to get these people committed and involved. Significant cost outlay. So from beginning to end, this is $1 million project for ASSA. Yes, it's a lot, but if it means that we increase our membership in the right way, and that we're opening doors and we're helping with skill shortages and the other issues that we're facing in the province, then to us that's good value, and our members believe that's good value. But you do have to be aware that it can be costly, especially the examination development component. That's a very, very expensive process to go through. And last but not least, long-term commitment. So you don't just implement the model and you're done, and that's not just assessing the pilot. This is actually going forward. We'll have to have ongoing steering committees to continue to evaluate our competency profiles and our exams, because competency will change, right? New skills, new technology, it's not going to be static. So you need to be, if you're going to go into this, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but if you're going to go into it, it's a long-term commitment. It's going to be something you do forever. And
That is just a perfect positioning of how it can be done. And it's interesting that just between the little break that we had, I was talking to another colleague at the chamber who is currently preparing a report for two major client member companies on transferability of skills in a very technical field, coming to the conclusion that in Canada we cannot transfer those skills because we don't know what the competencies are. So he was apologizing that he wasn't sitting in the room, but he was living the experience on behalf of a couple of members. So we went from macro-esque to practical experience on how it can be done for a profession. And now, Adam, take us to the reality of what that means at the company level. Yes.
All right. If I can just quickly, everyone stand up and introduce yourself to two people that you did not come with and just say hello. How are you? Oh, hi. Now, for those of you who are a little bit shy, I've done something a little bit different. If you go to bit.ly/Adam Comments, if you're shy and you don't want to ask a question in a big room, just go on to that on your smartphone and just type in your question, whatever it may be. If you don't get a chance to ask a question, type it in, and if you're nosy, what you can do is on the back of the cheat sheets that I provided, if you go into Adam's summary, you can see of all the questions and comments people are asking. Okay, so that's a little bit of a little bit different. If you're a little bit shy, if you're not shy and you want to ask your question, go ahead. If you've already asked your question, and you still want to ask a question, go ahead. There's no limit here. One thing I do want to, if you Google lean.org t-shirt, you're going to get a great little training seminar on how to train people correctly. I did a terrible job training these individuals on how to use this clicker. What I did was I said, here's the clicker, you turn it on and off, left and right, got it. And that's how we train people, right? What I missed was, and I did it with Jennifer, and did she have any problems with the clicker? Absolutely not. I spent time with Jennifer, and she actually demonstrated to me. I made her practically, I made her do the things with the clicker. We did some troubleshooting. I blocked that area, and every time she had an issue, she was fine, right? But we keep on forgetting that we tell people, this is how you do it, and you walk away, and you assume that person's already trained. That's what lean.org t-shirts teaches you the proper way how to train an individual that gets 90% retention and reduces errors by 80%. So highly recommend. This was as an ad-lib to it. So lean.org, how to fold a t-shirt. All right.
Not only is it reduce errors, but it actually results in shortening the training period by 50%.
And Jeff introduced me to it about 6 months ago, and I haven't looked back. Awesome, awesome program.
And you know how to fold it.
I learned that when I was in
This, by the way, the presentation is 5 out of 5 stars by Talent Tactics. Phenomenal presentation. And your satisfaction is guaranteed, and your money back. If you're not satisfied, as long as you haven't learned at least one thing, and you can prove to me that you have learned everything before, and you can show evidence where you have learned that before. If you can do that, money back. Quick plug for my company, Great West Kenworth, a great company. If you need a big truck, come get one from us. Plug for me, I have a teaching company. That's what I do part-time. I teach at UFC in Mount Royal, so that's me. I'm going to start with Target. And I'm not where you think I'm going with layoffs, but about a decade ago, a very angry father came into Target and demanded to speak with the manager because his 16-year-old daughter was getting coupons for baby discounts, wet wipes, diapers, 16 years old. What are you trying to do to my daughter? Tell her to get pregnant? Little did they know, and little did the father and the manager know, a year earlier, Target hired a statistician. And they were able to predict, depending on what items you get, whether you were pregnant or not. And then you were able to send out coupons to those pregnant. So before anyone even tells, because you're not supposed to tell within 3 months, right? This stuff happens in 3 months. But depending on your buying habits, they were able to predict whether somebody was pregnant or not. They were using big data, and big data has been used by retailers for a very long time. We now have access to big data where we didn't have before. Now big retail companies have had this information for decades. Every time you use an Air Miles card, credit card, points, loyalty points, they gather that data and try to assess what you like, what you don't like, what kind of coupons they should sell. That's why big data is so important. It allows to take a whole bunch of information and try to make sense of it. Yeah, they've been doing this for years, and I'm going to teach you some tricks that retailers have been using on you so you can be a little bit more savvy. We all know this trick. $99 is not $100, it really is $100. However, when you take out the dollar sign, it's no longer $100, it's no longer $99. You will spend more money without a dollar sign than with a dollar sign, so look out for those pricing. 5 out of 5 stars, doesn't matter who rated it, it's 5 out of 5 stars. It must be phenomenal, so be careful of stars. Cross iron mills, the reason why it's so far away is because it's inconvenient. And when you go there, you're going to do more shopping because you actually went out of your way to go shopping. Instead of it's convenient, I'm going to stop for one thing. Inconvenient, I'm going to actually go and spend the whole day there because I don't want to do the whole drive. Popcorn, if I went 5, 10, 15, 20, you guys would actually pick the size that you actually want because proportionally the value of the popcorn and the value of the price is exactly the same. However, if I went 5, 10, 18, 20, you would go, well, $2 for 20 is, I'm going to go, and the majority of you would go with the super size of $20. Because we are going, well, it's a much better deal at $20 than $18, so I'm going to go with the $20. All supermarkets have fresh, healthy food up front. Do you know why? Because if you put healthy food in your cart first, you will buy junk food later because you already bought healthy food. However, if you go into and you see all the chips pop and everything else, oh no, I'm on a healthy diet, this is right? And you go and you're not going to purchase junk food where they make their large markup. So they prime you first, I got my healthy food stuff, so I'm going to now go into unhealthy because I already got my healthy food. Shopping carts. Oddly enough, the bigger the shopping cart, the more you buy. So when you go into the next Costco or whatever it may be, look out for the shopping cart, get yourself a little basket and go shopping rather than a big, and this works for diets too. You want to lose weight, grab a smaller plate, right? Because you think you're eating more food than you actually are. Satisfaction guarantee, right? I guarantee your satisfaction. It reduces risk, and so you're not as you're more likely to purchase something because there's a guarantee in it, and it's not because usually the guarantees are really hard to achieve to get your money back. So that's how big data is so important and so vital, because unlike surveys where people say, I will do what I say I'm going to do, and people, when they say they're going to do, usually they don't, right? Big data gives you what they're actually doing. And you're going, okay, I don't understand how this relates to competencies. Big data is here, right? Social media and a lot of companies miss the boat on social media and are still missing the boat on social media. And the companies that are able to leverage and understand how to use social media are succeeding, and the companies that are not are hurting. Big data is here, same thing applies. If your company is able to take advantage of big data, you will be a little bit more successful. You have a little bit more competitive advantage than your competitors. So I was asked for critical skills. What critical skills are needed in HR profession? And I was just thinking about managers, leadership, anything like that. And traditionally, when we look at skills and competencies, what we do is We either ask for a diary log, we do questionnaires, we do observational interviews, we do whatever we need to do in order to find those skills. Sometimes we'll go into recruitment selection and match up what we're looking for to what we're applying, but usually we're kind of lost on what skills we're looking for. So I was trying to find, what are the key critical skills that everyone needs. Came across an interesting study where they said this is now HR transformation, but this is more for leadership. That you need to have be able to contribute, have a strategy in order to improve the bottom line for your company. You have to have industry knowledge. You have to have personal credibility. You have to be able to manage privacy. Gossip is really good. And the reason why gossip is really good is you get a chemical hit from sharing gossip and secrets as you do with narcotics. It's the same high. That's why it's so addictive, right? But if you are able to be better and stop gossip, you will improve your personal brand and improve your privacy management. Financial management, project management, but one thing that really a lot of people are lacking is being technologically savvy. Now, that doesn't mean you need to be a technological expert, but I'm still shocked to this day that people are actually proud how computer illiterate they are. And people saying, well, I don't have to do that, somebody does that for my company. For me to hear somebody is computer illiterate, it's the same as somebody saying, I don't have to read. I have somebody else in my company reading for me. My responsibility doesn't require me to read. I know my stuff is in the top of my head. We need to be a little bit more technologically savvy. We need to play with technology. The days where you press one button and all your information is gone and destroyed is gone, right? We need to start playing with technology. That's skill number one. Skill number two, and the HRA sort of talk about this, and these are the sort of 9 bodies of knowledge that an HR professional needs, and there's actually 44 competencies attached to this. But what indirectly they're saying is you need to continuously learn and want to continuously develop, right? Think to yourself right now, are you better than you were last year? And if the answer is no, you have a problem. If you're, I'm sure you're all laughing. If you're recalling back to the golden age when you were on the top of your game and how awesome you were, you have a problem. Each year you should be improving and getting better, getting smarter, stronger at whatever you choose to be doing at this point. So, and there is absolutely no excuse not to be continuously self-improving. Just like it doesn't have to be post-secondary, but hey, go do some post-secondary certificates, Con Ed, that sort of thing. It's really useful and helpful. But if you don't have the finances, there's a world out there. We create more data every single day than we did over the last 100 years. If you want to learn something, there's somebody out there in the world that's so passionate, they made a video about it. It might be terrible, right? But the information there is very, very solid, and it's there free for you. YouTube is a wonderful academy. If there's a skill that you want to learn it, okay? Now, I'm a little bit embarrassed because everything I've said so far, these fine individuals have already stated. But luckily, I've used different words, so it sounds like new information. But when we talked about competencies, I applied to critical thinking. We used to hammer in high school, you need to develop your critical thinking skills. And yet we have sort of lost that ability. And it's the critical thinking skills and developing your critical thinking skills that actually helps you to learn and develop as a professional. What critical thinking allows you to do is remember and understand that information, but then to be able to apply it to new situations. Once you're able to apply it to new situations, you can analyze, you can critique, and better yet, you can create better tools for yourself and your company. Critical thinking also allows you to avoid clickbait. Top 10 reasons why you shouldn't apply for this job. Have you seen this person in this picture or celebrity? What people are trying to do is they're trying to get you to click. And that's how they make revenue. There used to be jobs called fact checkers, and their responsibility was to find two sources in order before any kind of fact was printed. And they couldn't find two sources, that fact wasn't printed. Today's age, it's how quickly can you get the data out? Because it's a lot easier to retract and apologize than it is to find a second source. And so we have to be very critical about the information that we see, be able to analyze it and try to find the truth to it. You need to be technologically savvy because the next generation coming up already sees technology as a staple. There's organizations that are trying to promote that internet access is a human right? Water, food, connected to the World Wide Web. I apologize for my...
Sorry.
So technologically savvy, right? Critical thinking skills, continuous learning. This is what's stopping you from doing this. Your transactional administrative activities, your day-to-day paperwork that doesn't allow you to actually do some extra stuff in your day-to-day activities in order to be a more strategic individual. The only way you're going to the only way you're going to reduce this is through technology, okay? So you have to find technological ways to reduce your administrative tasks so you can be a more strategic partner to your business. So now I'm going to give you some tools that you can use to play around with technology, to play around with big data, and hopefully take you to that next level. But first, you need to know what kind of learner you are. And so there's three types of learner: visual, kinesthetic, and auditory. And if you go to Adam Vac, bit.ly.adamvac, you can actually take a questionnaire on what kind of learner you are. Now, Vince Fowler, a good friend of mine, gave me permission to use this for personal uses for you guys, but if you use it towards your departments and your managers to see what kind of learner you are, because when you get different learners, you get conflict. If you get an auditory learner teaching kinesthetic learners, this is what happens, right? All of these individuals were kinesthetic learners, and I taught them auditory how to use this mouse, right? Because there's 70% of individuals are kinesthetic, 20 are visual, meaning you just sort of you can look at something and learn, and only 10% are auditory. And we teach 10%, the majority of our course material we do auditory. So, how many of you commute to work? More than half an hour a day? Okay, 15 minutes a day. Okay. Did you know that translates, half an hour a day, translates to 22 days of 8 hours? So that's a full month. Okay? Back and forth, that's 2 months of commuting that you do a day. What you can do is you can get audiobooks. Because with driving, you actually don't have to concentrate. How many of you have arrived at the destination and you have no idea how you got there or how many red lights you've crossed? So don't tell me you're not concentrating. So it allows you, actually, audiobooks allows you to learn as you're driving and commuting every single day. 2 books that have changed and shaped the way I think and analyze my biases, my judgments, my perceptions are Think Fast and Slow and The Power of Habit. Phenomenal books, highly recommend. If you're a reader, read them, but get the audiobooks, start doing audiobooks. You do an audiobook a month, that's 12 books, that's 2 months of learning that you can do just for community. URL shorteners. So I've actually used URL shorteners throughout my presentation. But what URL shorteners allows you to do is collect data that you haven't been able to collect before. How many of you have sent out an email with an attachment to 100 people? Sorry, that was a question. I didn't. How many of you know how many people open that email attachment? Shorteners allow you to do that. So what you can do is you can create a URL shortener, those really long URLs. You can create a shortener, and then you can analyze the data, how many people actually click and open that document. Imagine you sent a document company-wide to 1,000 people. You're going to assume 1,000 people read your document. It's going to be probably about 25%, but this is how you can use big data to actually start analyzing how effective your communication and your emails are. So this is Bitly, and then Google itself has its own Google shortener. Bitly allows you to customize. Google just gives you a shortener, but the same amount of data. Yep. Oh. So, last one, performance reviews. This, how many recognize this as a type of performance review? You do check marks, you give it to HR, gets shoved in a drawer and forgotten until when? Next year, right? So, you're going to learn how to do better performance reviews through Excel, and this is a step up, right? So, all of this is now a little bit more systematic, where you can sort of do check marks and it automatically rates, provides technical skills and competencies for each individual and that sort of thing. But you're missing a step. The step is big data. Taking all of those performance reviews and making sense into what's happening in your department, what's happening in your company, right? And so we're able to take 25 technicians and pull that statistical data out, because now we've actually given numbers to each of the competencies. And we're able to say, hey, you know what? We're a little weak on electrical, and we definitely need some help in gear. And so when we're doing recruitment and selection, rather than picking a journeyman technician, I can now focus in, I need a journeyman technician with gear work. And I need a journeyman technician with electrical. And we're kind of lacking in initiative, so we need to create some kind of programs to sort of get the technicians to show a little bit more initiative. This Excel spreadsheet and the video and how to use the video and how it's made is, again, just click on Adam's skills or Adam's kill, and you're able to play around and make a video, so you're able to sort of start applying those skills. And Sean, if you can raise your hand, Excel genius. Right there, will help you do this. So if you have an Excel sort of spreadsheet that you want to just beef it up a little bit, make sure you talk to that man afterwards. And I'm running out of time, so last tech tips. Solid state drives. This will improve your performance on your computer by 10-fold. If you have an old computer that's really slow, get yourself a solid state drive. Dual monitors. Snagit is what I used here, and it allows you to better communicate. So people are visual as well, right? Rather than typing out an email, if you're able to sort of highlight, point out, so when you're going to go to Adam Skills, you're going to get this thing, this view, and then all you have to do is up there go to downloads, and you're able to download that spreadsheet. That's a much better way of communicating than, say, go to Adam Skills, right? And here's a little tip. With URL shorteners, if you add the plus sign, you are actually able to see the data. It's open to anyone. So if you see a URL shortener and you add the plus sign at the end, you can also view that data. How many of you knew that? No money back for anyone. Lastly, Google, get familiar with Googleverse. It's a phenomenal free tool. They just came out with Google Photos. Phenomenal. They will actually categorize your videos, your photos for you, unlimited backup. And so you put in the beach, all your beach photos will come up. You put in Thanksgiving, all your Thanksgiving photos come up. It's a phenomenal tool. And what it also do, it automatically creates movies for you. So you upload a couple movies, Google will pick out some movies and create a video for you. And if you take multiple snapshots, they will make that for you automatically. I didn't do that. I'm just a really bad photographer, and I took 6 really long snapshots, but they turned it into something wonderful, beautiful that I can share. Thank you.